swear on my stash that by the end of tonight, Monday, November the 12th, Santa will have a face. I mean it. I mean it. I am not going to bed tonight until Santa has a face. And I am going to post a picture of Santa's face on my Instagram feed tonight at Off the Grid Needlearts. Keep me accountable, folks. Santa needs a face. Hashtag Santa needs a face. It's going to happen tonight, Monday night. I am not going to bed until Santa has a face. Happy Monday, Flosstube. Let me just wrap this up here, and I'll see you in a minute downstairs. Here we are, back in place downstairs. It is Monday again. It is November the 12th. Yesterday was Remembrance Day. My sister-in-law is in town. My husband's sister, not my brother's wife, Kathy, but my husband's sister, Heidi, is here. She lives in Italy with her husband and family, and she is here for the next week for a visit, and then she will be taking my father-in-law back to Italy to stay with her over the winter. So we've been having We've been having some nice visits and some nice family time. We went out to dinner last night, so it's been good to catch up. And it's Monday yet again. So, like I said, tonight's the night. Santa is getting a face. That is the Prairie Schooler Woodland Santas that I've been working on forever, and it's time. It's time. He needs a face. I need to get that face done. And so I'm going to post a picture on Instagram tonight as soon as it's done. You guys, I'm crooked, so just let me straighten this up here. That's a bit better. There we go. Bag production taking place, as you can see. Those are my stacks of holiday bags. I love to see them there, all stacked up neat and tidy. Make me happy. Okay, so because it's Monday, we are doing a Because Monday giveaway. Last Monday's pattern for the Because Monday giveaway. Hold please. Last Monday, I offered up a Lizzie Kate pattern, and it came with the charms. This is the garden sampler. It is very, very sweet. And the charms that are included in there, a wheelbarrow, a butterfly, and just the most adorable snail. I'm not sure you can see the snail. Anyways, we talked about the laundry list of overdyed flosses on the back. However, there are DMC and anchor conversions. And the random number generator chose number 54. There were 171 comments on last week's giveaway post on the Facebook group. The number 54 was the one that the random number generator chose. So congratulations, Sharon Hunting. You are the winner of last week's Because Monday draw. So if you would please send me your address, I will send it out in the mail to you. So we have a new drawing for this week. I'm going to be giving away 2 patterns to the same person. So today's drawing is for 2 patterns because it's Monday. These are 2 patterns by Sisters and Best Friends. That's the name of the designer. And they're both by the same designer. This is a designer out of Toledo, Ohio. So the first one's an older pattern from 1999. And it's called Santa Be Good. And the phrase on there, it says, I said be good. So it's very sweet. And I love this extra little pillow finish that they did there. See how they took just the Santa part and they made the Santa into a pillow. And then they stitched the entire design and framed it. So either finish is super cute. The other pattern, I have a feeling I've given this pattern away before. This rings a bell. I think I gave this away in the summer, maybe in June when I was at Gerald's place with Letitia and Gerald. I think this pattern looks very familiar, but I think that one came with the buttons. Unfortunately, this is just the pattern. It does not come with the buttons. So this is Over the Moon, Summer Bee. As you can see, there's the bumblebee right there. And there's the moon. And these are the buttons that are in the, they're shown in the picture. However, what I really like about this pattern is I probably wouldn't stitch the entire thing, but I really like certain elements of it. I really like the font that's used in those letters, and they're charted beautifully. I won't flip it around and show you. However, I like this pattern for the, now actually, that's kind of funny actually. You should be aware if you want to stitch just the letters, the way that the chart is divided up in the back, as you can see, the top of the letters here are in that little checkerboard design. So it just took me a moment to notice, I'm like, oh, they cut off the pattern. No, they didn't cut off the pattern. The tops of those letters are actually, they've divided the pattern in half in 2 panels, and the tops of these letters are in the panel for this part. So if you're like me and vision challenged, maybe that will help you out if you win this pattern, and then you can find it too. I really like the bumblebee. I might stitch the little bumblebee by itself, and I like that moon. I might stitch that moon by itself. However, I'm going to send this pattern out to, these 2 patterns are going out to a new home. The entry for this draw, because Monday, these happen on the Facebook group, Friday Off the Grid, and I will, as soon as this video is uploaded, I will post a picture and I will have that posting on the Facebook group for you to leave your comment on. And yeah, just leave me a comment if you'd like to win these 2 charts, because it's Monday. I had a great weekend. I had a really, really good weekend. Was able to spend a little bit more time with the family this weekend in between doing some Evertote sewing and packaging and shipping. So it was nice. We did some relaxing last night. Watched a bit of an old season of Survivor that's on Hulu, and what else? Oh, we helped my son study for a science test. Yes, collective sigh. I know there are parents out there who sympathize. Last night was a little trying at times when we realized that he hadn't done as good of a job with his studying as we had thought that he had. And it became clear when we were reviewing some things with him for his test, and it became clear that a little extra revision was needed last night. So anyways, it's still nice that we had the time to spend with him to help him prepare. I have, because of this weekend, I have a little finish. I almost had these finished on Friday when I recorded with my fiber friends, and I know this is not a stitching show and tell, this is a knitting show and tell, but I think that when you work for so long on something as a crafter, you want to share it with as many people as you can. So I finished a pair of socks. So here they are. This is my pair of socks, and it was the second sock that took me so long to finish, and in fact all I had to finish was the toe, and it took forever because I just left it, and all it needed was a toe. And so it took me making this series of videos for Ginger Gerald, teaching him how to learn how to make socks, that I thought, oh well, this is a perfect sock to use for the toe tutorial. And then in fact we ended up using Louise's sock for the toe tutorial anyways, so I didn't need it, but I thought, time to finish that sock. I almost had it finished on Friday, and then yesterday morning when I got up, I made myself a cup of coffee and I kitchenered the toe, which is what you do when you want to close in those stitches at the very end, and it's done. This is a hand-dyed yarn by my friend Adrian of Old Oak Yarns, and it is it's an merino cashmere nylon blend. So they're super soft, they fit perfectly, and they're super cozy. So that is my show and tell. And thank you, Flosstubers, Flosstube for letting me share a knitting finish with you, because I was pretty proud of myself that I finished them. I have been working on some stitching, but it's not, this particular project is not cross stitch. The cross stitch that I was working on this week, I put some work into my mitten, the pattern that comes with the holiday kit. I've been working on my little ornament, the mitten that's super small, but not enough really to share progress. I've also put a few stitches into my Ginger Gerald Stories of the North, because I really need, that's my next thing that I want to finish. So that's the plan. But then this one was calling to me. It's canvas work. You've seen it before. This is from Nancy's Needle, Starry Skies, and I could not put my hands on the cover photo before I started recording this. I've shown it before. If you do a Google search, you'll come up with it quite easily. But let me show you the, I hope this will cut, yeah, there you go, see? So, I came down this corner with the stars. Maybe if I come over this side, is that a bit better? So I finished all of this corner here. All of these little bits and pieces of what's that called? It's the Jobelin stitch. And I did this entire row of, this is it's the thread. I'm going to show it to you because it's beautiful. It's from the Karen collection, and it is Watercolors. That's the name I couldn't think of. Watercolors by Karen. So this is what the tag looks like. And actually, in fact, that's not the color, because this whole chart uses a bunch of different watercolors. And so the one that's being used in the border here is called Lexi's Blue. And this is what the floss looks like in the skein. So as you can see, it's just a beautiful variegated mix of blues and purples and turquoise and teal and a little bit of light brown mixed in there. So then when you stitch it, it just creates this lovely variegated look all the way across. Of course, the longer the stitch, the color pattern changes, which makes sense. So my plan with this one is to finish it up by the end of the year. It's been long enough. This one needs to be done. And canvas work goes quick. Oh, I've got one of my hairs on that one. Canvas work goes very quickly because the stitches are quite long and they cover a lot of ground fairly quickly. These stars, because there's a lot of color changes and shorter lengths of thread, that's why I've been sort of avoiding this, because this takes a while. And I like that when I do canvas work, I love that instant gratification of the fast stitch coverage. It's like zip, zip, zip. Oh, look at how much I got done. So, but I love doing these small details. It's not easy to pick up and do when you only have a couple of minutes to pick up your stitching. So, time to make some more time. Time to invent a machine that will make more time, because there's way too many things that I want to do. But I finished a pair of socks, so there's that. Okay, I think that was all I had to share with you today for my whips and finishes and things like that. I had said something on Friday when I was recording my Stitch With Me video about my needle magnet. I had mentioned about not keeping the needle magnet on my project, on your project, that apparently you're not really supposed to do that. And I had a lot of people asking, why is that? And they had never heard that before. Why shouldn't I keep my needle minder on my project, on my fabric? And again, this is one of those things that I am certainly no expert. It's just something I've heard, and I tend to talk a lot, so I tend to say a lot of things that I've heard. And I try never to take things as, gospel or 100% accurate, but it makes sense to me. So I can't remember who told me. I don't remember where I heard it from, but I think it's just one of those general things, like you shouldn't keep your needle in your fabric. You shouldn't keep your needle in your fabric, and you shouldn't keep anything else on your fabric for long-term storage. Now, I am the worst, culprit of not following these rules, because I will find a project, like for example, Woodland Santas. I haven't touched that since last year, and when I unrolled it, there was a needle in it. I had stuck a needle in it and left it there, and that's terrible. That's way worse than a needle minder, because it can rust. You know what it's like when you open up a kit or something that's been sitting in the store for 20 years, or you find it in the thrift shop and there's been a needle left in the fabric. You never know what's going to happen. It can leave a mark on your fabric. And I think that's why you also shouldn't leave a needle minder, because it can pull apart the fibers of your fabric. My friend Virtuti, who is a stitching friend here in London, Ontario, she made the comment last weekend at our stitching retreat that she had little marks on her fabric from where she had been keeping her little needle minder. Now I know for a fact Virtuti uses, they are the rare earth magnets. I believe she buys hers at Lee Valley, but I use, when I make needle magnets, I use a rare earth refrigerator magnet. They're very strong. They're a great needle minder. But she had mentioned that hers had left little tiny circles on her fabric. Now, I didn't see it. I don't know whether that was, how we're always so critical about our own stitching and the way things look. And perhaps if I had looked at her piece of fabric, I might not have noticed it as much as she does, because she's the one who's staring at it all the time. When we do our stitching, we're looking at it close up like this, right? For long periods of time. Whereas a casual observer or another needle worker or stitcher might see your work from further back and not even notice that there was anything amiss. So I didn't actually see it. However, it's not the first time that I've heard you just shouldn't leave stuff in your fabric. I should really follow my own advice moving forward. So this canvas piece, I'm not going to worry about this. And I'll tell you why. Because I know myself, I do not have many of these big needles around. I think it's either a 20 or an 18 needle. This is the size that I use, that I prefer to use for my canvas work. If I take this needle magnet off my piece, I will never find this magnet again. I'll never find this needle again. And the way that I store this project, I always store it like this, flat, with the project bag with all of my stuff. I keep it on top like this, and I store it like this because my project bag isn't quite big enough for the frame as well. But even if it was, I probably wouldn't put the canvas in here. I don't know, just my own quirk. But my project bag isn't quite big enough for it. But I keep all of my pattern and my threads in the project bag, and I put it on top and I keep it flat. And I leave the magnet on the inside. And the reason why, okay, so I'll show you the back, because it's McDreamy. There he is, cutie pie. I leave the main part of the magnet on the outside because this is the part that is the strongest for the needle. And so I keep this part on the inside of the frame where nothing is going to knock that needle off by accident. So that's just how I keep it. That was a lot of chit chat about why we don't leave needle minders on our fabric, which I tend to do anyways. So I hope that sort of was a good discussion. I hope maybe that was helpful for somebody. And really, I should make more effort to never leave my needles in my fabric ever again. Because I know myself, it is probably going to be a while before I get back to it. So that was definitely an oversight. I just love these socks so much. I can't wait to wear them, but I can't wear them until after I've shown them on the Fiber Friends podcast because, well, nobody wants to see socks that I've been wearing, you know? So I have to keep these pristine until I have gloated about them on the Fiber Friends podcast, but I'm dying to wear them. So I'm going to have to tuck them away. And then the very first thing that I'm going to do after we record that episode is put them on my feet. Okay, so that's it for whips and show and tell and Because Monday giveaway. The only thing left is a little teeny tiny shop update. I still have holiday kits in the shop. As you can see, I still have a few left. And I still have one of the Fancy Deer fabric. It's a medium flat cross stitch set. I have one of those left, and then that is it. That fabric is now gone forever. And it was such a beautiful print too. I saved one bag for myself last year out of I made them into wedge totes last year with, it was part of the Fiber Friends winter kit last year, and I had a little bit of fabric left, so I kept one of those totes for myself. As you might be able to see, I did not get to my fox and reindeer fabric that I meant to by this point in this week. However, I was a little bit swamped with other work, and I'm still finishing up a few other orders that came through Friday and through the weekend. So those I'm trying to finish up first, and then I'm going to attack that new fabric. So I have some other holiday prints as well. I may have mentioned that last week. I have a few other fun prints that I'm looking forward to getting into. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to work away over this next week and a half over making some new bags for the shop. And I'm going to load those bags into the shop as I'm ready. But I will, next Thursday, I'll do a shop update video for anything that is left in case there's some stuff in the shop that you would like to see. So more the new bags that are coming out. I'll do an update video next Thursday. So I think that's it. I'm looking at this one right now. Isn't this pretty? So I have no idea what I'm going to do with this. Sometimes I like to just look at a fabric for a little while before I cut into it, because I like to, part of the fun of my job is dreaming about what it's going to become and envisioning what I can put it with and how it's going to look its best. And this needs, I don't know, either it's going to be the entire bag with that sweet little print and a strappy handle, you know, like a medium wedge tote with a strap, because I don't have very much. This is it. This is all I have. So whatever I make out of it, it either has to be an accent on something else or go all out and use up the entire thing on one set. I don't know. I have to think about it a little bit more. But I have a few other prints that I've been waiting to dig into for a little while, so it's time to get to that, which is exciting. I hope you have a great week, a wonderful week. I hope that your Monday has started off well, and if it hasn't, I hope that it improves. Happy stitching, and I'll see you on Friday for Friday Off the Grid.